Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat, I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee, give me that for free. Keep me some money on me, smoking the gas, keep. You with me, sheesh, but need OG keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, check the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my tax is thorough. Way I'm shooting like step, but my pass is bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in they fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. Whoa. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Yeah. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told them I'ma get it and go. Even in the summer, man, they knowing I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made out the flows. Might get a couple more popping if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on a dash. And they tell me slow down cause dog I'm moving too fast. Might go and cop me a Tesla cause dog I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, we are continuing to reject our value area high, getting a little bit of a drop to the downside, testing some really, really key support, guys. If we lose this key support, we could get a very fast drop down towards about $86,000. And if we could break through support, maybe we get the move up to 95 to 97K, but we do have some bearish signs popping up on the chart, guys. I am now hedging my long position with some shorts here. I'm going to break down all the key levels and what I'm expecting next. We'll take a look at Market Cypher B. We'll take a look at the liquidity and where I'm expecting price to go next. So shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We got Tony D dropping this Cyber Week sale is still live on FrankieCandlesTrading.com, guys. Go check that out. If you're looking to save some money on the premium Discord subscriptions, let's see. We got regular guy trades in the chat. We got Amina in the house. What is going on? Gen Z in the chat. We got Erica, CandleMafia chick in the chat. How you doing, Erica? Welcome in, welcome in. We got Perry. We got Crimson Caravan's girlfriend. What is going on? Shout out to Crimson's girlfriend and Crimson himself. Shout out to you guys. Welcome in, welcome in. Flat Smack in the chat. I could just tell by your profile picture, bro. Your name is not Flat Smack anymore, but I can see that profile pic. But what is going on? We got Gen Z in the chat. Jesse, we got our mods in the chat as well, guys. Show them some love if you love them as much as we do. We got Darren Does Things and Jesse holding it down in the chat. Thank you guys for everything you do. And Vegas Claw tuning in. What is going on? He said, Jesse, please free liquidity, or liquidity, as he likes to say. But guys, we got a lot to look at here on the charts today. So without Why Can't We Pump, shout out to Madzilla. We'll talk about that, guys. Honestly, there is an argument to be made for the move into 97K or the drop to the downside. I'm going to show you guys the exact signals that I'm looking at. And hopefully, if we are going to go down, we can catch those shorts to the downside. Like I said, I am starting to build some shorts up here for very specific reasons that we're going to go over right now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so here we are on the Bitcoin chart, typically where you're going to be looking at the Bitcoin price. And as you guys know, let's take a look. Let me pull up our current range here. This is what we were looking at yesterday, our beautiful volume profile as we were pushing into our key value area high with some bearish divergences forming here on the 1 hour time frame. Every time you get a push up into one of these value area highs, guys, one of the easiest confirmations you can look for. Now, I wouldn't say you just want to trade every single time you see a bearish divergence, but anytime you see these bear divs with higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves, we were looking for a potential continuation down here. And once you reject that value area high, guys, what is that next high probability target for price? It is going to be that POC. And you can see, guys, this was the key level of support we looked at yesterday. I'm going to go over why this is such an important level of support. If we lose this, guys, we could see a very fast move, like almost a teleportation down to $86,000 for a very specific reason, guys. These volume profiles are super, super simple. Shorts at the highs, longs at the lows. And yes, I am still holding my long position here from about $85-ish thousand. I can pull that up right here. I am still holding this up about almost $6,000. I'm actually probably going to lock in a little bit more profit here, guys, as I'm going to talk about these bearish signals. Potential drop to the downside here. So I'm going to protect myself a little more. Maybe I'll take some profit on this in a little while. But why is this key point of control so important, guys? Let me hide this long position. Why is this so important? Well, of course, obviously you have the bearish divergences, which could indicate that, well, we already got that move down to the high probability target of the POC. But if we do end up getting stuck underneath this point of control, guys, I would expect a very fast drop down towards the value area low. Overall, within the volume profiles, once you get the deviation below, the reclaim of that value area low, very high probability you're headed up towards that POC. Once that POC rotates into support, you can look for that value area high to get hit, right? Beautiful rotation of that volume profile, super high probability. The magnetic, magical laws of the volume profile, they will change your life, guys, I promise you. But, you know, why is it so important that we hold above this level? Well, if we just zoom out a little bit here, you guys can see on the volume profile, massive low volume gap sitting here underneath this support. I'm going to go ahead and delete that hot dog off the chart. I can already see the chats coming in. But if we lose this level, guys, when we have these low volume gaps, oftentimes you will see a fast move down. When you break back into that gap, fast move up. Fast move down, fast move up. And if we get stuck under this profile, of course, you are going to anticipate a rotation to that value area low just based off the laws of the volume profile. However, understanding that we have this low volume gap, it may be a very fast drop like we saw back here. Same thing with the fast pump, right? There is just nothing here, right? There's just nothing holding you up or down. So just very simply, if you get that drop down, you are going to be looking for that fast drop to the downside. Very simple, and this is why I love the volume profile so much, guys. It's so visual. The high volume nodes act as magnets for price. You could see price stuck around up here. We caught that short position, slam that back to the downside, looking to come into our beautiful golden pocket retracement, only to look for another long position that, of course, I am holding right now. So just being patient for those key levels to get hit, guys. But the question is, we also still have our major zone of resistance sitting above when we pull up the confluence here on the daily MPOCs and weekly MPOCs, as well as the, where is it? POC of our macro range. I'll go ahead and hide our local profile, right? Overall, guys, this is kind of the big level, right? Not only is this the value area low of our range, sitting at about $91,300. This is the level that we knew once we were able to flip to support. We could see that continuation up. And this is still the big key level to hold if we are going to see that $95,000 to $97,000 zone to come into play. Now, as we talked about last night, it's not promised here that we are going to get that move up into the confluence. Now, I would be looking to take a more confident short position up here just because of all the confluence. when you have those multiple levels of confluence, it is going to give you a higher probability reaction. And, up here, right, where we're getting the rejection right now, it is just local resistance, right? We don't have any, major daily MPOCs, any weekly MPOCs. But, of course, right, we see that we look for that drop down to the point of control. We get it. And, of course, that POC is perfectly confluent with that value area low. So just very, very important level, right? I just want to be very clear about that because not only if you break down below this level will you be losing the value area low of the range, but you'll also be getting accepted under your POC, which we all know is going to give you that high probability move. On top of the, to add insult to injury here, you also have that low volume gap, right? We see this play out time and time again. It's absolutely magical. It kind of feels like cheating. There's no guarantee that you're going to break into that range, but once you get in here, guys, again, you could just highlight those low volume gaps and you could just see fast move, fast move, fast move, fast move. Why? There's just no volume. There's no interest at that level. And that's why the high volume nodes act as a magnet. So with that being said, still the major key level of support. Now, the one thing that I am a little bit worried about holding here for, or the one reason I am worried about holding this support is the fact that, of course, not only did we get the local 1 hour bearish divergences marked off perfectly here on the chart, just typical volume profile setup. You're looking for shorts at the highs, longs at the lows. Even down here, we did get those low time frame bullish divergences into our confluent zone of support in the premium Discord. I've shown this before. Yesterday, I showed you the post, right? Looking for those exact confirmations. You have the higher lows on your momentum waves, lower lows on price into your key level of support. You're below that value area, letting you know that price is undervalued. And then once you get in there, you look for the rotation. So it's the same thing on the way down. And the one thing that adds a little bit more insult to injury here is not only do you have the local bearish divergences, but you also have some higher time frame bear divs that have confirmed as well. We do have the 4 hour bearish divergence across these highs, higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves. And when we look at this money flow wave on market cipher B, it does look like this money flow is looking to come out a little bit. Not only do you have the 4 hour bear divs, you also have the 6 hour bear div confirmed, right? Same deal. Lower highs, higher highs. And then even on the 8 hour, we have the bear div printing here. You have the 10 hour bear div printing. And then, of course, we have this 12 hour red dot looking to print, which once that does come up on the chart, as long as this momentum wave remains a lower high, will be a bearish divergence. And you guys know when we see these 12 hour red dots, we head right down to the 45-minute. And if we see that money flow crossing into the red, that is a market cipher B 1/16th bearish setup. And that money flow crossover sometimes can indicate that you will continue the lower high, lower low structure, and it could be the thing to drop us through this profile, right? Through that low volume gap. So that's why I'm interested in building a little bit of short positions up here just to kind of hedge myself, right? I'm already sitting in the long, obviously, massively in profit. So I want to protect myself a little bit, and it's a little bit of a cushy position because if we do take that short, or I'm already starting to build the position, but if I do get stopped out, well, guess what? We're going to get stopped out for a small loss, and then that bigger long position down from the lows will continue to pay us out. So very, very simple context here, guys. Value area high sitting at 93,700, POC sitting at 91.4, and then you have the value area low sitting at $86,378. Now, if we get this drop to the downside, we do actually have a little bit of confluence here. Let me take that fib off. I'll take off this tapped daily MPOC. You guys can see how well these MPOCs are respected. But if we do get that rotation down to the low, you could see the value area low of the range and this daily MPOC are confluent. And if we pull our full Fibonacci retracement, you can see we do have a golden pocket, 786, in confluence with this area. And if we do get down there, I'll be interested in potentially looking for a long position, just as we typically do within the profiles, just like down here. Deviate below the low, looking for the long positions, look to come up to the high. If we can't break out of here and come up to 95 to 96K, which, by the way, if we do break out, that is the next big place to look at. That's where I'll be looking for the next shorts. But if we do get that move down, of course, golden pocket, I would prefer to see the 786 because, again, these volume profiles are likely to fill in full. But this zone does sit between about 87,745 and $85,953. So if we can get those confirmations, of course, if we get down there, there's no confirmations, we'll just look to hold those short positions for lower prices. And, of course, I will stop out in profit on that long position. Like I said, I will lock in some more profits here, and my stop loss is already at break even. So at this point, it's already a guaranteed winning trade. I do want to lock in some more profits, but worst case scenario, if we just mega candle down here, make $1,300, no big deal. But of course, I'm going to try to up that a little bit because $1,300 ain't enough for me, guys. It ain't enough. But that's really the context here, guys. Simple volume profile. If we don't come down to the low here, I'm not really interested in any long positions unless it's like a little scalp. And these are the next big zones. 97,745 to 85,953 for the longs, and then up here 95,252 all the way up to about 97.5 for the shorts. Now, if we do come up here, guys, I do want to mention, let me go ahead and hide the profile, right? We pull up our macro profile. I have to say this, guys. Longer term, I am still bearish. I hate to say it. I know everybody wants to see, massive, new all-time highs incoming. Is it impossible? No. Do I think it's probable? No. But, I am going to remain longer-term bearish here, even if we did hold this value area low, which, again, of course, is going to be the level to hold in order to look for not only the move into 95 to 97, but if we could flip that, potentially we could start to come into our next zone of resistance, which is confluent with our 50-week moving average, which, of course, is going to be the massive, massive level of resistance to break. We have never one time, I say this every stream, never once, there's no spot on the chart that I could point to where we've been able to reclaim this late in the cycle with such high time frame bearish confirmations, with all the higher time frame money flow coming out. It is what it is, guys. Money flow is coming out. I'm going to have to keep my longer term bearish sentiment, right? If that changes, if we flip the 50 week, we could start to say, hey, we actually have no random narrative, right? We actually have something different happening, right? Back in 2021, back in 2021, we could not flip it. Back in 17, we could not flip it. And even in 2014 cycle, we could not flip it. So, there's nothing I could point to be like, well, technically in this cycle, we flipped it. And, at this point, staying below, once we break that level with multiple weekly candle closures, it has been proven impossible to get back above. So it's really not until we break above that level that I start to feel a little bit better. And even then, we still have massive resistance above. So keep that in mind. But of course, that doesn't stop us from making some money on those long positions. You don't need those big moves to make some money, guys. And I do want to bring up, guys, I have gotten a bunch of questions about prop firms. Everybody wants to know, Frankie, do you use prop firms? And I don't, right? I don't have a lot of experience in prop firms, and obviously it's a little bit more common in stocks and Forex and stuff like that. But I have been playing around with a prop firm, guys, and it is Warbucks, is a crypto prop firm, and this is lit. This is lit, guys. Now, if you don't know about prop firms, if you want extra capital, or if you don't have a lot of capital to trade with, I know not everybody has tens of thousands of dollars to trade with, and prop firms are awesome. Typically, and that's the case. This is the case for Warbucks as well. Typically, there will be a challenge. There's drawdown limits. There's profit targets, and if you're able to pass the challenge or the evaluation, you'll get rewarded with a funded account of, say $25, $50, $100,000. And of course, there's limits on those accounts. Max drawdown limits, etc. If you hit the max drawdown, you'll lose the account. But it's very nice. And Warbucks is awesome. It's a crypto prop firm. And the beautiful thing that I really, really like about Warbucks, guys, you can see the accounts here, right? They have 5K, 10K, 25K, 50K, 100K. And they have the challenges. But they also, which is what I absolutely love, is they have instant funded accounts. There is no challenge. You pay the money, right? So for a 50K account, $450, 25K account, $200. You literally click this and you get funded with a $25,000 account, or 50 or 100 for the instant fundeds, right? Absolutely beautiful. So, a lot of people ask me, they're like, I trade with $200, I'm taking $5 profit percentage wise, if you have a $100 account, you make $5 on a trade, that's 5% on your account, but $5 is not going to change your life. This is absolutely lit, guys. I've been playing around with it. The platform is super, super smooth. So go check it out. We do have an affiliate link for you guys in the description down below. You guys are going to hear a lot more about this. I'm going to keep playing with this. And I just get questions all the time. Someone asked me the other day, make your own prop firm. This is not my own prop firm, just to be clear. But this is like one of the only prop firms that I know that offers instant funded. And then, of course, if you want to do the challenges, that's fine too. And you can see the challenges. If you go the challenge route, it is a little bit cheaper, right? So $389 for the 50K account. Instant funded is $450. So it's really up to you. But a really good way to get access to more capital. I always say you want to master the art of trading before you start just dumping tens of thousands of dollars or thousands of dollars into your own trading account, because there is a learning curve in trading, guys. It's a long journey, and you don't want to drop $10,000 in your account before you know how to trade. Very likely, you're going to give a lot of that back to the market. But this is a good way to protect yourself, right? You blow up the account. If you have a 25K account, you blow it up, you lose $200. You're not losing 25K. So super, super nice. Go check it out if you guys are interested. Let's see. Yo, let's go. Shout out to Jax. I knew you guys were going to be, the link, the affiliate link is pinned in the, at the top of the chat. I believe it's in the description down below as well. So yeah, a lot of people have been waiting for this, and it's finally here. Not that it's mine or I've been working on it, but we finally found one that I actually like. I've actually never traded on a crypto prop firm. I never traded on a prop firm in general. So yeah, go check that out. Definitely a great tool, guys, for new traders that don't have tons of money to start with, and you don't want to take $5 profit on a $100 account. So go check it out. Let's see. And if you guys come over to the website. It's Warbucks, WARBUX. The branding is fire. It's like matches the Frankie Candles colors. It's like perfectly on brand. But yeah, if you come on over here, how it works, you'll get a little bit more information. Right, get funded your way, pay once to take the challenge, or skip straight to funded trade. Grow, stay within your limits, and get funded like a pro. So you guys can come here, check out the rules, all that good stuff. More information, link in the description down below or pinned at the top of the chat. Super excited about this. I cannot wait to play with this more, guys. But anyway, let's continue on here. So honestly, simple update today, guys. This is the key support. We must stay above this, $91,300. We lose this value area low. Not only are you breaking out of your range, right, or breaking down out of your range, but you also have that low volume gap sitting here. Probably going to be a teleportation down to 87 to 85K, right? Or I should say 87.8 to about 86K. But let me come on into chat. What are you guys thinking? Are we going to get the pop up to our key level, or are we going to get the early breakdown here from these bearish divergences and teleport down to our lower levels? Link is not in the description. It's pinned to the top of the chat. Tony, if you could drop the link in the description, that would be fire. But yeah, it is pinned to the top of the chat. Let's see. Shout out to Wick589, said, I was just really disappointed. I was thinking about accumulating during tax loss harvesting, but we were better positioned last week for a good step down. Shout out to Wick589, OG of the CandleMafia. I'm way up here in chat. Based on money flow, we are probably going down to fill the range. Yeah, this is why I'm a little bit worried, guys, just because of those bearish divergences and the fact that we do have some bearish market cipher B 116 setups with the red dots on the higher time frames, right? We have the 8-hour red dot printing, 30-minute money flow, trying to come back into the green here, but if this crosses back over into the red, how much time do we have left on this 8-hour red dot? About 52 minutes, so plenty of time for this to continue to print as this money flow bleeds out. So yeah, and not only that, right? You also have the 12-hour red dot in cooperation with that 45-minute money flow, right? VWAP looking a little overextended here. This red dot prints. If that drags your money flow back out with that 12-hour red dot printing, which still has 51 minutes left, or it's not printing yet, but it will be printing probably very soon, especially if we get the drop down. So that's the signal that I'll be looking for, right? 12-hour red dot, 45-minute money flow crossover into the red. This is the same strategy that we've looked at many a times to get the continuations of the trend, right? It was part of the reason why we were looking for this to be a higher low, right? Low, high, higher low, higher high. Break of structure to the upside. One of the big reasons we were looking for that was the fact that we had our 4-hour money flow in the green, right? Once you see that 4-hour money flow in the green, of course, that money flow is going to indicate the overall trend. However, it does not call for the ebbs or flows to the downside, right? Not FOMO longing into the pump, but just waiting for the pullback into your key support and actually longing the red candles, right? Me personally, I'm not a breakout trader. Not that it doesn't work. I've just found much more success waiting for the pullbacks. The one caveat there is, of course, you're not promised the pullback. So, of course, if you don't get the pullback, you might miss out on the position. But that's totally fine when it comes to the short-term trades, guys, because there's always going to be another opportunity. I personally missed this long position, and then I waited for our key level up here, caught the short, and then caught the long. I am not worried about missing this move. You can catch this one, you can catch this one. If I missed this and this, I could have caught that. If I missed this, this, and this, I could catch the short, or I can catch the next long. So you don't want to get in there and just start going on tilt, trying to catch every single trade and getting stopped out every time. So this is what we're looking at. Key level to the upside, 95 to 97K. If we get that big drop down, of course, even this 4-hour money flow starting to leak out. 1-hour money flow very smoothly headed to the downside there with our 16-hour red dot looking to print. And it's not they're not just red dots, guys. They are also bearish divergences. And if we are indeed genuinely going into a bear market, you could be spending a lot more time in the red than in the green with money flow. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to fake out money flow here, but if we are, of course we can continue as long as we hold above these lows. You could continue to get the bigger retracement, which I know everyone's hoping for. I'm hoping for that as well. But there's no guarantee that you have to come up there, right? Like, you can definitely see a situation where, let me hide some of this stuff. Bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. Get rid of this, right? There is a situation where you could kind of come up, wiggle around, and just get the instant drop to the downside, right? So the reason I'm willing to take some shorts up here is just because, number one, I'm very beautifully hedged in the long position, and in a bear market, I have no problem taking shots at some of these short positions, because if it stops out, small loss, long continues to pay out, and if we are just going to nuke to the downside, it's worth a shot, in my opinion, to try to fire on some of those shorts. So yeah, that's my plan. Other than that, right, like, not really much of an update. We're kind of just been wiggling around here for a little bit, kind of like boring price action as we kind of just range around. If you guys want some super hyper local levels for those scalpers out there, we do have this very local range. Value area low sitting at about 91.8. You can see we slipped it today, got back in, trying to wiggle up here. One of the big levels, I can't promise we're going to get the move up there, guys, but we do have confluence here on the golden pocket 786 and the value area high and the POC. Golden pocket POC, 786 value area high. And let me see where this anchored VWAP is popping up at these days. Yeah, so you got the anchored VWAP up there as well. So, I was thinking about potentially waiting to build the position until we came up here, but I started a starter position here. If we push up, I will add to that position, and if we just keep pushing up, eventually I'll stop out of that, and the long will continue to pay us out. But this would be like the hyper local range that I'm looking at. Again, if we get rejected, a lot of people say, Frankie, I follow your strategy. I understand the volume profiles, shorts at the highs, longs at the lows, shorts at the highs, longs at the lows. It's beautiful, but how do I know if this range is going to break down? And oftentimes, one thing that we can look at here, guys, is money flow, right? Because the money flow is going to indicate the overall trend. And if this money flow on the 30-minute, 45-minute, and the 1 hour continue to the downside, right? Like, you're wiggling around here. This money flow is indicating the trend will continue down. What does that mean? It means potential lower highs for lower lows to come. Once you break down out of this range, you're going to have to start playing with some of that real key support, right? And then once we start losing these lows, the only other level underneath you is this anchored VWAP. Right now it sits at 90,500, but it's going to move, right? If price does come down, this is going to move. So just be careful of that. But, that's really the only last line of defense. But, like, once you come down there, you're rejected out of your range. Money flow is coming out. You're looking for lower highs and lower lows. And then once we break down below all this support, again, watch out for that low volume gap. Break down. Probably going to be a teleportation, right? Very specifically. Not 100% positive, right? Like, anything can happen. But, again, it's the same thing here. Low volume gap. You break above that high volume node. What happens? Absolute teleportation. What happens when you break down below this high volume node? Absolute teleportation. So I would expect the same thing if we lose that level. So hopefully, if we wiggle down here, we can hold support and get back out of here for 95 to 97K. If not, looking for that fulfill the profile. Simple plan. Hide this. All right, let's come back into the chat. We got Rob the Crypto Snob in the chat. What is going on, Rob? Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Shout out to Dusty Hunt. Says, all the cool people are here. And Vegas Claw. Shout out to Vegas. Vegas Claw's a cool guy. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Hit us with a Drake meme, bro. I haven't seen one in a while. Hit us with a Drake meme. Let's see. Shout out to Satoshi Stacker. Thank you for the super chat, brother. He said, what up, Frankie? How you feeling about Bitcoin dominance? Let's go ahead and jump in there, guys. We'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance. We'll also take a look at some of the altcoins as well. Taking a look at dominance here. Honestly, like, this has just been a waiting game, right? We had come up to, honestly, both of our key levels of resistance. We had the golden pocket 786 on that value area low. We got that massive wick on those liquidations that we had on the Bitcoin chart, pushed us into our second zone. I hate these big wicks, guys. It kind of just muddies up the chart. But these are still the biggest levels of resistance, right? We're hoping that we do not get accepted back into this profile. If we get accepted back into this profile, I'm looking for Bitcoin dominance to come up to the POC at 64.25%. If we get above the value area low. Now, from a higher time frame, this is still looking weak. Now, does that necessarily mean a massive alt season is coming? Not necessarily, right? I'm not banking on an alt season at this point. I think everybody kind of knows that. I hate saying this stuff. People don't like to hear it. People don't like hitting the like button when you're bearish, but I don't care, right? At the end of the day, we've been looking for this big drop down since the loss of 108K. I know it's not popular. I know it's not what people want to hear, but, thank God, right? Imagine if I was up here calling for, the massive moves up. Oh, my God, ignore the charts, guys. All-time highs this time is different, right? I would be kicking myself that I was just misguiding people. And, of course, I'm not going to be right 100% of the time. I could have been wrong about this, right? But, of course, when we lose that level, we get accepted into the massive volume profile of our macro range, right? Once you get in there, you're looking to get a move down. Looking to get a move down to your POC, lose the POC, get the move down to the low. And of course, right, this is pretty much the range that we're looking to get accepted back into. But at this point, right, with all the high time frame indicators pointing to the downside, meaning continuations of the trend, right? This weekly or 6-day green dot is printing. Sure, that can give us a pop to the upside, but that does not invalidate the fact that money flow is coming out. These are rare signals, right? So the hope for some kind of an alt pump would be to hold in here and get the bigger retracement up to the 50-week moving average, or at least 95 to 97K, but preferably to the 50-week moving average at 102.3. Maybe we see the alts pump on that. I don't think it's going to be the god tier alt season that everybody's hoping for. Hopefully that's wrong. But again, I think it's a lot of hope, right? There's a lot of hope going on. But I don't operate off of hope. I can still hope, right? But I'm not going to make the decisions based off that. So I am still not really super confident in that happening. And when we take a look at the Bitcoin dominance, higher time frames do still look somewhat bearish, right? The 4-hour money flow has crossed over into the red. Could this continue a bigger trend to the downside? Of course. So that's still kind of what we're waiting for, right? All the higher time frames still look a little bearish on Market Cipher B for dominance. But again, it's the Bitcoin chart looks bearish as well, right? We just don't have all the confluence that we need. We might have one indicator here. We might have one signal here that could be good for altcoins, but we don't have everything all lining up together at this point, which is kind of a big problem, right? And hopefully that changes. The good thing is these things can change, right? Like I said, we flipped that 50-week moving average. We could see something else play out, but we have a long way up there, right? So, we'll cross that bridge if and when we get there, but, this all looks the same, right? 4-day still looks bearish as far as money flow goes, so you could still get pops to the upside, but you're hoping for lower highs and lower lows. I just don't know if that's going to cause some kind of massive alt season, right? I'm personally not expecting that. If I'm wrong, I still hold a bunch of my altcoins, so I'll enjoy that. But at this point, not super amped on that. Take a look at the weekly green dot also looking to print, but again, look at your money flow is coming out. So maybe the green dot prints, maybe we have to come back up in here. But the problem here is, guys, I really at this point, with the context of the cycle, with the context of the Bitcoin chart, I don't really want to. Could you get the rejection from the 786? Yes, but at that point, you're back inside your range, right? So even if you get the rejection here, you could just continue up, right, until you break down back below that volume profile. So if we do reject, I really do prefer to reject from this level. Once we get above that 786 value area low, not looking as good, right? And of course, the money flow can fake out back up into the green, but really no update there. We've just kind of been wiggling around underneath this level ever since we hit it back here in October. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep you guys updated every step of the way. Let's see here. Shout out to Pennywise, everybody's favorite friendly clown. We think he might be evil. We're not sure. Shout out to Pennywise. Welcome in, brother. Shout out to Rabin says, Frankie, was the money flow pointing down at the previous bottom at 15K? I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Are you talking about the money flow pointing down back here? No, right? Now, the answer to this is, right, you wouldn't really be looking for money flow to cross into the red after the drop down, right? The money flow crossovers happen much earlier. And like I've been talking about, guys, it does seem, right, that we are very, very close to kind of right in here for this cycle. Right. And of course, I hate to say it, right? It's not my base case, right? I'll just say that outright, right? I am bearish on the higher time frames. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just reading the charts. Please don't come at me. If we had massive bullish signals, money flow coming up on the higher time frames, I would be calling for a massive move up, right? And I always show these examples because, you could see here. We'll pull up the 6-day, right? Because the 6-day is very important. You can see these 6-day money flow crossovers don't happen often, right? If we mark these out, Let me get this off the chart. If we mark these out, right, like 6-day money flow crossover into the red, massive drop into the bear market. 6-day money flow crossover into the red, massive bear market. 6-day money flow crossover into the red, massive bear market. The whole thing with this money flow is it is an early warning sign for the start of the downtrend, right? By the time we're at $15,000, guess what's happening? We're getting massive high time frame bullish divergences, right? Money flow starts to bottom out and curl back to the upside. By the time this money flow is deep in the red, you're looking for the rotation back up, right? And then you look at it from a 4-year cycle perspective. It's like, all right, well, this is enough time for a bear market to play out. We can look for that to continue up into our new bull market, right? Halving happens, right? New all-time high, new all-time high, new all-time high, right? There it is. But at this point, right, it is looking a lot more similar to, if I had to say where we are in this cycle, just from a chart perspective, not just a 4-year cycle perspective. Of course, I'm not in the camp that like the 4-year cycle is the end-all be-all thing. If we see massive money printing, we see a massive melt up in the stock market, I wouldn't just be screaming 4-year cycle. I would expect Bitcoin to follow the melt up in the stock market. But it does seem like we are somewhere here based off many factors. One of them being the 4-year cycle, but number 2, just being what we've seen on the chart, right? Our last 6-day money flow crossover happened right here after the top came in, and we got our first big drop to the downside, right? And of course, you get a green dot to print here. You get a bounce to the upside, but what is it? It's a lower high for a lower low to come. Very similar situation to what we have right now, right? We have the top comes in, right? And hopefully that's not the all-time high. It's looking more and more likely like that every single day. But there's your money flow crossover into the red. This could be a massive warning sign for the long term. Now, we do have the green dot printing on the 6-day, which is why I say if you're looking for a retracement, we're hoping it happens here. We got to stay inside of this value to get that bigger push up towards the 50-week moving average and potentially the value area high. But it does look very similar to what we saw back in the past, not just based off the 4-year cycle, but just from a chart perspective as well. So maybe we see something like that. That would be the hope, but it is not guaranteed. Let me be very clear. And at the end of the day, guys, if we get a big move to the downside, of course this can change. Maybe we come sweep this low. These high time frames are not going to change, right? But like maybe we see something on the chart. It's like, oh my God, that's the bottom, right? But like I just would not be banking on that, right? Like if I had to anticipate what price is going to look like down here, it's like we don't have a lot of support. This last level that we bounced off of, where we're long from, is the 786, right? This is the last place to bounce. If we come back down and we can't get the higher low on those local levels we talked about earlier in the stream, and we break down below these levels and lose that 786, the idea of the higher low is invalidated. And it is very likely that we're going to break this low down here at $74,000. And the problem with that, or I wouldn't say the problem, but if I'm going to look at the next key levels down below, let me hide some of this TA. If we take a look at the higher time frames, we pull up our, where's it at? Our lower range, right? We look at this from a volume profile perspective. If we break these lows, guess what? Price is going to seek out fair value. Where's the next area of fair value? It sits right here on the value area high of our previous range, starting at about $70,000. Value area high is sitting at 70K, POC sitting at 67,404, right? So this would be the next major target, whether we come down from where we are now, or we get the push up to 95 to 96K, or we get the push up into the 50-week moving average. This is the next major target, right? And the beautiful thing, I know when we talk about the moves down, guys, I said it before, I know people don't like to hear this. This will not last forever, right? Just like every bear market, And I just see a lot, one of the things that we've talked about, right, when the top comes in is all the dips within the bull market, right? Everybody gets super concerned. Oh my God, is this the bear market? Oh my God, is this the bear market, right? And these are typically the dips you want to buy. When everybody is scared to buy the dip, that's the dip you buy. At least for me, when I talk about this dip maybe not being the dip to buy, now it could be wrong. Maybe it is the dip to buy and we go into an all-time highs. We'll see something we've never seen happen. You can't predict that. But I just see a lot of people upset about this, like buying this dip. They're like, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. They weren't saying it here. They weren't saying it here. And one of the signs of the top being in is like, people finally say, all right, buy the dip. We've seen these corrections. It was fine. New all-time high. It was fine. New all-time high. And then that next dip, the final dip comes in. That's the dip everybody wants to buy. And it ends up not being the dip you want to buy. And of course that could be different, right? It could be Could be wrong, right? This is just my analysis, again, based off actual information on the charts. This isn't just some random narrative, right? And a lot of people like to say, what about this? What about that, right? What about the XRP ETFs? What about, someone brought that up, and, before they were announced or launched or whatever, I talked about how, the bullish news doesn't always one-to-one transfer to price, right? It is bullish, right? Long term, I guess it's bullish, right? But it doesn't transfer one-to-one on price. And once that news came out, what has XRP done? It's done nothing but go down. So it's not to say, oh my God, I was right. I don't like doing that, right? Like, because I could be wrong, right? Like, it's corny to be like, I called it, right? But it is true, right? Based off the charts. If the chart looks bearish, I don't really care what the news is, right? Show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. More often than not, if the charts are bearish and there's a news event that's going to affect price, it's just going to agree with the charts. We need confluence. We need multiple things pointing in one direction. So we just don't have that, right? It's kind of like what I talked about on Bitcoin dominance. And, I think the simplest way to look at this is just from a high time frame perspective. Like, again, these 6-day money flow crossovers are very, very rare. Doesn't mean it can't fake out, right? But like literally every single time we've seen that, we've been in almost the exact same situation. And you might say, well, Frankie, like, why are you confident on this dip? Why are you confident on this dip? Why are you not confident on that dip? On this current dip, right? Well, it has to do with the fact that, number one, we did not have money flow crossing into the red here. We had plenty of time left in the cycle. Money flow is still in the green. As long as money flow is in the green, you're looking for higher lows, higher highs. Down here, we had money flow coming out. It was still in the green, and we still had time left in the cycle. So we look for, and not only that, you have massive bullish confirmations, and you're on top of the 50-week moving average. You push into the 50-week moving average as support. You get massive high time frame bullish divergences like the daily and the 2-day. That is a bullish sign for a bounce to the upside. This is a different context. We are below the 50-week moving average. It is now massive resistance. We have no 2-day bull divs. We have no daily bull divs, right? So like the signals are just not there. If they were there, I'd be saying the same thing I said back here, right? But it's just simply not the same. Of course, hopefully we can hold the 786, get the bigger retracement, and at the end of the day, if we could flip that 50-week, we could say, hey, maybe we could head up to 110K, flip that, we could look for 116K, and who knows, maybe we could start looking for a new all-time high, right? But we're very far away from that. The context on the higher time frames is very bearish. It's just very hard for me to build out a bullish case for all-time highs. But there you go, right? So yeah, and of course, like I just look back in time and it's like, thank God I don't just do this for clicks and likes, right? Because if I were just to say, I want more likes, I want more views, guys, new all-time highs, right? Everyone just gets cooked. I'll never do that, right? And that's not to say that if you just listen to me, you're always going to be on the right side. Of course, I've been wrong before. Of course, I will be wrong again. It's not 100% when you're looking at the charts. Nobody's going to be 100% right. But I just look at this and I was like so thankful that I just stick to the charts, right? And you can always expect that from this channel. I'm never just going to, even to the moves to the downside. Just because I'm bearish now, if it flips bullish, you're going to see me bring up those things and talk about what it looks like. I'm not just going to be like, it has to go down because I said it was going to go down. It's not a gamble, right? It's just me reading the charts and coming up with a higher probability situation. All right, let's see. Let me come back in the chat. Shout out to Crespo Crypto, said I was watching 97 to 102, but Frankie makes a good point. Shout out to Crespo Crypto. Yeah, absolutely. And again, at the end of the day, it's like, when do I really start feeling good? Not until we start cracking 116K. But even then, guys, right, like you could potentially, I'm not expecting this, right? But like if we did come up to the highs, you could still see some like sweep of the high. But this just looks so similar to the top that we saw in 2021. A lot of people were comparing it to this. 2021 looks just like this. The top is in. You're an idiot if you don't think this is the top. But we explained during this live price action why I did not think that, right? And they were not wrong, right? This does look very similar to the top in 2021, right? Just a lot smaller. But these bearish divergences are, not as strong as like when we look at this, right? You have the bearish divergences. I'll pull this up on like the weekly, right? Was it a weekly bear div? Let me see here. Yeah, so like you did have the weekly bearish divergence, and I had some really good questions, right? I was almost proud of the Mafia for asking these questions. They're like, well, we have a weekly bear div. Like, isn't that the same signal that we had in 2021? And it's like, yes, right? But we're getting it at a different point in the cycle. And we're also, it's not that strong of not as strong of a divergence, right? It's kind of more local. Now, of course, we did see this as a bearish confirmation, right? We actually did take the short here and rode this all the way down. We were expecting to crack these lows and sweep out this liquidity. But we had this massive level of support with massive bullish confirmations calling for the new high, which is the only reason why I was looking for the new high. If we did not have these bull divs, if we were breaking down below the 50-week, you would have seen the sentiment that I have now. You would have seen that back then. But very simply, we did not have that situation, so I was looking for the bounce. But then, when you start to see these bearish divergences that we're forming now, these look much more similar to the bearish divergences we had in 2021. It also lines up perfectly with the timing of the cycle. It also lines up perfectly with the crossovers into the red on your high time frame money flow. And of course, now we're below the 50-week moving average. So this isn't really a long-term stream. My channel is more for trading, but just because of where we are and the risk of this potentially being the top for Bitcoin this cycle, I do like to cover it for you guys because I know a lot of people are here just holding spot, not looking for the trading stuff. So I don't want to spend too much time on it, and I cover it every day. But it's like every day someone's like, "Tell me it's going to all-time highs," and it's like, I will when the signs are on the chart. Let's see. Shout out to Crespo. Crypto said, but we have a cold super moon, full moon tonight, and Mercury retrograde coming. Shout out to Crespo. I hope that means something. I hope it does. And again, right, like the push up here, if we wake up tomorrow and we're getting the push into the 50-week moving average, like still doesn't change the long-term sentiment. Again, I will let you guys know. There will be a video. This changes everything. My mouth will be wide open on the thumbnail. I know people love those. All right, let's see here. 2026, in my opinion, will be bullish. If not, stocks will get it all. Yeah, maybe. Shout out to Jennifer, potentially. And again, right, like this doesn't mean it's going to last forever, guys. At the end of the day, right, it's like usually the bear markets are like, they're not like necessarily quick timing wise, but it's like you just get that full pain and it's just kind of like they rip the Band-Aid off. Hopefully it's the same here. But it won't last forever, right? It's not going to last forever. And to be honest, right, like when we look at this from a high time frame perspective, right, if I pull up these lower prices, and like I said, guys, I hate talking about this, right? Like I'd much rather, be down here or up here, taking arrows saying this, guys, don't get tricked. Don't get tricked. To people like, you're an idiot. It's the bear market, right? Like I would much better off. I would much rather be calling for higher prices. I say this every single day, right? Like I hate saying price is going to go down, but I have a boss, right? My boss is the chart, right? The chart is the truth. There's always narratives. There were narratives up here, 100K incoming, 100K incoming. I got cooked in the comments for saying that this was the last retracement. I got absolutely obliterated in the comments. This guy's a clown. This guy's a moron. He has no idea what's going on. And at the end of the day, they had a chance of being right? And that's okay. I don't really look at it as bears versus bulls, right? I just look at it from a probability standpoint. Not a prediction standpoint, a probability standpoint. And anyone could be wrong. It doesn't matter who you watch. But me, anybody, right? No one's going to be right 100% of the time. But, it just reminds me of the times. Like when you could even see on the YouTube views and stuff, like nobody cares anymore. No one's here. It's just like the crypto space is like a ghost town right now. And when I talk about these lower prices potentially incoming, right? Like people are going to get super excited. I will probably still be looking for the lower high. It reminds me of back here. I talk about these lower prices. There's a lot of people that are unhappy to hear that, right? It just really does. Like, unfortunately, that is like another thing that makes me think like, dang, the last time we barely ever get hate on this channel. And not that we really get hate, but like usually people are excited and happy in these streams. But a lot of people are just like, I know people don't want to hear this. And like the last time it really felt like that was down here. But it won't last forever, right? At the end of the day, if we do get that big drop down, right, whether we get the big retracement or not, right, if we do come down here, at the end of the day, guys, right, like, it's not that crazy. I mean, maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I've just been in crypto for too long. Maybe I just have too long-term of a mindset. But, like, it's just not that brutal, right, in my opinion, right? It's like, if you endured this, right, it's like not much more of a drop until you can see that significant support come in, right? It's like you get this, right? And then it's like one more of those, and you're back inside major support, right? And then again, you will be retesting the previous all-time high. And who knows, right? Maybe it's not going to be a traditional 4-year cycle bear market where you're going to see a 70% drop to the downside. I'm not here to like call where the bottom of the bear market is going to be. We have to get closer to these prices. If we get down to this level or this level, right? Again, 70K is kind of the start of that major zone. If we break into this value area high, very simply, guys, we break down here, we're going to look for that full fill of the range. At that point, if we do this, right, people are going to be like, there's no way, man, this is max pain. Like, there's no way we can go down, right? But when we look at this from the prices we were up here, what were we saying? If we break below this value area high, guys, I have to look for this full fill of the range. People didn't want to see it. People said it wouldn't happen. And I prayed it wouldn't happen, right? But I just know the high probability playouts of these volume profiles, and almost every time it winds up playing out. So if we get down there, right, if I see bottom signals here, money flow coming up on the higher time frames, maybe that's the bottom, right? This is where I would start to entertain, like, let's try to find some key levels where we could start looking for bottoms. But lose that, we could be coming down to about 59K, right? Maybe we slip the value area low a little bit into the mid-50s. And at the end of the day, right, that is not necessarily like that full 70% bear market, right? And then maybe 2026 starts off a little bit bearish, right? Maybe the end of 2025 or maybe the beginning of 2026 ends up being a little bearish, and then maybe they start printing money or something. We start to see the bottom signals, and it's kind of like a shortened bear market. Speculative, but definitely an opportunity for that to play out. So we're not that far away from this, right? So, and even if we get down there, right, I would expect some kind of a bounce. And again, right, like that last level of support here, there's not really anything underneath the 786, right? Like this is what we're bouncing off of. This was the level we waited for. Sure enough, here we are getting the bounce. But once you lose that, there's really not a lot, kind of like what I was explaining about that low volume gap on the local range. Right? Low volume gap, fast move down, fast move up, fast move down, fast move up. There's just nothing there, right? Your POC is here, and your value area low is here. There's no real resistance in between. There's no real support in between, so it's a fast move, right? When you look at it from a higher time frame perspective, there's really nothing in between this 786 and that lower range starting at $70,000, right? So it could be fast move up, break down underneath this, fast move down. Very important to hold this, right? Especially if you're looking for that bigger retracement. And I pray that as price comes up, we can see something change on the charts. And I promise you, if it is, I'm not a perma bear, guys. I promise you that. If we see something change, right, we will be the first people to tell you. But I'm just not seeing it right now. So, yeah, we'll see. There's a little bit of a long-term target there, or like a starter long-term target. You know, I'm not saying it can't go below this. But, you know, it's impossible. Like, it would just be a total guess, right? And that's kind of all I'm doing, right? We're just using the past analysis, the past patterns, the past price action to predict what happens next. More often than not, that's very accurate. But, you know, it's impossible for me to say, you know, hey, when we come down here, it will be the bottom. I just don't know what price is going to look like down here. I don't know what the money flow is going to look like. So it's just like we have to wait to see that come in. We need more information. We need more data on the charts. All right, let's see. Crespo said Frankie was shouting me out. Shout out to Crespo. Just tell me it's going to be 15K again so I can stock up, bro. Shout out to Max. I mean, anything's possible, but that's not going to be one of my targets, at least as of right now. I mean, I guess, you know, if I really, you know, if you guys want some lower targets, like I kind of talk about them, right? I just can't promise we're going to come down to them. It's just way too soon to talk about it. But if I pull up our 2021 macro volume profile, here it is, right? And this does give us a little bit of backup support. Of course, you have the all-time high at 70K, or 69K. If I pull up that lower range real quick, right? If we come down here, right, you're testing 70,000, 69, you know, between 70,000 and 67K, right? That's also the all-time high. You can see that confluence, right? So that's the top of the range. If we break down, right, if we get in here and we get stuck under the range, we're going to be looking to come down to the value area low. And then, you know, what would be really nice is if you can get a deviation below this low to retap this value area high of the bull market range. This will be, I know for a fact, right, like this is 100% going to be a level I'll be paying attention to, sitting at $54,000. And kind of how that could potentially play out on the, you know, lower time frames, not the low time frames, but if we did wind up getting that drop, right, eventually you fill this, right, and time-wise, I just have no idea. But if you deviate below, maybe we get a lower low for a weekly bullish divergence, and then we can get accepted back into the range. And again, depending on what money flow looks like, we'll either be looking for lower highs for a much bigger drop down, or we could potentially look for the bottom to come in, right? I just don't know what it's going to look like down there. But it is nice that you do have 55K will be a very key level to look at. Why is that? Well, the value area high of this range, if you break down below it, guess what? It'd be hopefully nice support to hold on top of. But if we broke down below that, well, where are we probably headed? High probability target. Right, come down here, maybe you fill that range, maybe you get a retracement, right, come in, lose this value area high. Next likely place for price to go is going to be that PLC. That brings you to about 47K. I'm not saying that we have to go down there. Again, I don't know what price is going to look like. Let's take it step by step. This is the next big target. If we are indeed going to see the continued lower highs and lower lows, if the money flow is indeed going to be correct about the bigger move down, this is the zone to watch. Plain and simple. So there you go. All right, let's go ahead and move into shout out to Jar Sager. I don't know how to say that name, but shout out to you, brother. Said, learn TA from Frankie, then you make money. Let's go, baby. Step 1, step 2. Learn TA, make money. If this, then that. Let's go. Kind of how we trade. Why is it called a bull market? Shout out to Mimi. Well, I mean, it depends on how you define a bull market, right? At the end of the day, you could just say like a bullish trend is a bull market, right? Like obviously this is a bull market. It's a high time frame trend, right? High, low, or low, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. Again, if we're gonna lose that 786 down here, I know you guys can barely see this, but if we're gonna lose this 786, it invalidates the idea of the higher low, which totally steps on the fact that you're going to see a higher high. And you will see, very likely, that bigger drop down. And, when we look at the volume profiles, guys, auction market theory is very simple. Price seeks out fair value, right? Price always seeks out fair value, right? Well, if you just look at this as an overall volume profile, if we are unable, right, that's why reclaiming this value area low is so important. Right? If we cannot reclaim this and get the bigger move to the upside and we get rejected out of this range, where is price going to seek? Fair value. Where's your next area of fair value? It's right down here, right? Price is going to be like, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go. Where's the fair value? Where's the fair value? Oh, here it is. Let me settle on in here. Let me nestle in to this bearish range. And that's just what we see, right? Shout out to Crespo Crypto. Thank you for the super chat. Said, would you say you outperformed trading Bitcoin versus just buying and holding from 15K to 126K this cycle? I don't know. I do hold a bit of Bitcoin. I would have to look at it and do the math. Probably not, right? The way I handle this, guys, is I do not trade with my whole bag, right? And I don't recommend anybody do that as well, right? Or either. I hold, most of my bags were held long-term. I just use I just leverage trade and use the short-term trades as a way to make money daily. It's kind of like my earned income. It's like my job is trading. But most of the time, all the money that I make from trading, right, I will just flow back into long-term positions, right, to accumulate in the bear market. But I would say if I had to put a percentage on it, I'm probably 85 to 90% spot holdings, and then I use a very small portion of my capital to trade with. So. But I would actually have to do the math, but probably not. I probably making more on the spot bags. Yeah, you seen a bull run in Spain? Shout out to Mr. Terps. Yeah, what do they say? Bulls bow before they charge, and bears rear before they charge. Meaning, bears go stand up and then they attack. Bulls rear down and then whip up with their horns. Let's see. Shout out to commenter says, I only average up. Show me a fresh all-time high or I'm on buyer's strike. Calling for Bitcoin below 71K is outlandish. Definitely not impossible. A lot of people said calling for Bitcoin below 100K was outlandish. Obviously not the case. But yeah, it's I just never listen to that stuff. People Bitcoin's never breaking 30K again. Bitcoin's never breaking 20K again, right? It's just Just like, what is it based off of, right? Like, what is the logic or reason behind that? But I mean, hey, it could be possible, right? If we did wind up putting in a bottom here, maybe you don't lose. I mean, maybe you just play around here. But I mean, listen, if you're looking for a traditional 70% bear market to play out, right? Like, you're looking way below $70,000. I hope it doesn't break it. And at the end of the day, you do have support there. Like, maybe you hold it. But yeah, I think it's, again, possible to say, like, I don't know. I do think there is reason to believe that maybe we don't see the 70% drawdown, right? It would be very nice, like, if we could just come up in here and hold this. Maybe, you play around with it, lose it slightly. But again, I don't know the probabilities of this. Like, it's literally just a gamble, right? Like, if we wound up wiggling around up here for quite some time, bada boom, bada bing, we come up, we come back down, right? And like, this money flow starts working its way out, right? And then we bleed out slowly. And then this money flow is in a big red wave looking to cross over into the green, and we are tapping into 70K. Maybe we have bullish confirmations there. We have massive divergences. Well, at that point, if I see that stuff down there, we could say, well, hey, we're probably not going to break 70K. But right now, it's just so soon to call that. I'm not going to try to say, like, the bottom's going to come in here. We have estimations based off prior cycles. Last cycle, we used the prior drawdowns, right, which were like between 70 and 80%. And we said, all right, well, hey, if we like split the difference between that, we'd probably land between, I was looking at between $14,000 and $12,000. Of course, we bottomed out at about 15.5, but you're never going to get it to the dollar, right? Like, the way I dollar cost average into the market, I'm not, just because I was looking at 14K, 12 to 14K, does not mean that I'm out of the market until we hit that level, right? Like, that's a fool's game, in my opinion, because you're never going to be able to snipe the bottom like that. And it's not that you can't, right? But there's like a big element of luck to that. But what do I do, right? Like, if we're up here, I'll be saying, well, hey, if we see what we've seen in the past, we could be headed down to like 12 to 14K. But as we come down here to retest the prior cycle all-time high, and we start dipping below it, what do we see forming on the charts? Massive weekly bullish divergences, right? And what is money flow doing? Money flow is starting, it's deep in the red, right? And it starts to round off. That is a big sign, right? A massive weekly bull div after a big money flow wave, after enough time for a bear market to play out comes in, you could start to say, hey, this is good. This weekly bullish divergence can be the bottom signal. And even before we got down here, we were looking for a potential weekly bullish divergence. I have a video on the channel from back in the day. It still lives there, where we were looking for bull divs down to 12 to 14K. And then once we see that bull div form, like, I didn't know if we were going to come down to 12 or 14K. I just knew that was the zone I was going to be paying attention. Once we see that bull div confirm, we feel really good about the dollar cost averaging positions that we've taken. Continue to dollar cost average. Bada boom. You get a nice even average entry point, and then you enjoy the bull market, right? So again, like, if we saw something similar to this play out, it wouldn't be a 70-something% correction, right? If we look to go retest that previous all-time high, where does that sit, right? Well, it sits right on, funny enough, that exact volume profile that we just pulled, right? So that'd be the first place where I'd be willing to look for like macro bottoms. But again, I don't know if we don't get the bullish confirmations down there, it might look more bearish, and maybe, if we don't get those bull divs, maybe we do break in here and go lower. But again, this is like a total guess there, right? It's impossible. I need the information on the charts. Shout out to Brian says, so the momentum waves divergence lead the money flow, and then money flow is considered the follow through. Yes, and not yes. You have that pretty much correct, right? Like, in this case, you have the bullish divergence, right? Now, if we had this bullish divergence, and let me just draw this out for you. Let's say this was the level we were looking at, and we were, let me come into bar replay mode, like, just to show you an example. It's not 100% like every time it's going to be that. If we come down to a key level and we put in a bullish divergence like this, and money flow is just starting to cross over into the red, that bullish divergence is not going to be as strong as if you had already had a big red wave, right? Because this is letting me know that this downtrend might just be getting started, right? Maybe you're wiggling around up here, you start to get the dump, you put in the bullish divergence. Of course, that can give you a bounce, but with that money flow coming out, I'm looking at that as the start of the bearish trend, right? Meaning that when we get these pumps to the upside, which would likely come in off a weekly bullish divergence, just because you have the weekly bull div, it could indicate a reversal, but not necessarily a reversal for all-time highs, right? I would be looking at the money flow. The money flow indicates the overall trend every single time. every single time. I don't want to say every single time, right? It's going to fake out sometimes, right? But like I'm 100% always looking at that money flow to indicate the trend. That's what I mean, right? It's not always going to play out, but I'm always looking for that money flow to indicate the trend. So what would I be looking for there on that bounce to the upside? I would be looking for a lower high and a lower low. That bullish divergence could indicate the bounce, but the money flow, right? Maybe that green dot prints, you get the bounce, but that money flow coming out is going to indicate that you're probably better off fading the highs for lower prices. So yes, like the bull div forms, and if I bring up that actual situation down there at the lows, right, I'll pull this up, right, just in like real time. You start to look at this. I'll even mark off $14,000, right? We're looking at like, oh, maybe we can get down to 14K. It's like, all right, we're approaching our big target. We're approaching our big target. This is nice. But if we don't hit that level, right, and we start to print this bullish divergence, like look at this. This money flow, when the money flow crosses over into the red, this is typically where I look or pull the weekly up. Once that weekly money flow crosses into the red, again, right, like start of the downtrend, right? Massive drop to continue. But as we start to say, hey, we're approaching, we're playing around with those previous all-time highs. Let me make this a little bigger so you guys can see it, right? We're approaching those previous all-time highs. We're breaking down below them. If we can form a bullish divergence, whoops, look at this. What are our momentum waves doing? Price is continuing down. Your momentum waves are coming up. There's your divergence. Price is coming down. Momentum is coming up. That doesn't make sense, right? That's what indicates the reversal. But you can see here that money flow wave was pretty deep, right? We're hitting our target. The money flow has played out to give you the continuation of the downtrend. And then that green dot ends up printing eventually. You get the bull div. There's the bull div printing with the green dot. Lower lows, higher lows. I would be anticipating a bounce. And in this case, after this big money flow wave, this was my opportunity to accumulate. And I could say maybe this bullish divergence is going to end this red money flow wave and start to trend up. If I see that money flow starting to trend up, well, hey, probably a pretty good sign that this was the bottom. We hit our target. We have the bullish confirmations, and money flow is coming back up. Not only does the weekly money flow crossover into the red indicate a bear market, right, or right before the bear market starts, but the money flow crossover into the green indicates the opposite, right? So you see those bullish divergences. It's very simple, right? It's not like super advanced or anything. It's a very simple thing to look at. And then you get the bounce. You get back above the all-time high. Now look at your weekly money flow. It starts to creep to the upside, right? Doesn't mean the bull market starts up in a straight line, but you can look. If this money flow is coming up, you can expect higher lows and higher highs, right? And then obviously time goes by. Low, high, higher low, higher high, right? Money flow starts crossing into the green. Anytime we see that money flow crossover, even if it fakes out, which doesn't happen often, that first money flow crossover does indicate that the bottom is in and you're ready to start another bull run, right? It's exactly what we looked at back in the day. Shout out to the OGs on the channel. And of course, right, I think we all know what that looks like moving forward, right? You get a little fake out back on your money flow, but again, that first crossover does indicate that the bottom is in, right? These weekly money flow crossovers, even if it fakes out, is a big indication that the trend will continue in whatever direction it crosses over at, right? Because you look at this and you're saying, all right, we had a massive downtrend, right? Oh, we faked out into the green, but we're back in the red. It's very likely at that point that this could just be an overall continuation of that trend, right? Money flow is not going to be perfect. It's gonna fake out sometimes. On the weekly, it doesn't happen very often. Not as often as it does on the lower time frames. So there you go. A little bit of long-term sauce for the mafia. Let's check out the low time frames here on Bitcoin real quick. Yeah, she's banging to the downside. Shout out to Yoda, said ETH 5K retest never happened on weekday. Do you think there will be a retest of 5K on ETH before the bear market starts in 26? I have no idea. It's just like there's so much work we have to do to like say that that's a high probability. Is it impossible? No. But right, like you just have so much work to do here, right? If we pull our full Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low, it's like if I take off all these Fibonacci retracements, and I'll do some analysis here on Ethereum as well. Let me just hide some of this stuff, right? We just look at this from a simple volume profile perspective, right? At the end of the day, this retracement could still come all the way up here to put in a lower high. It's not until you break above that 786 that you can look to potentially crack those highs. So you have a long way to go, right? Like we could be sitting up at $3,500 and it's like, oh my God, this is super bullish. And it's like short term maybe, right? But like even if you got to move up here, this could be where the lower high comes in at, right? Let's see. Let's go back to 2021, right? And Bitcoin and Ethereum both didn't get their full Fibonacci retracements, I don't believe. So last cycle, there's your full golden pocket 786. We never made it up there, right? It's not a promise that you're going to come up to that full Fibonacci retracement. So that's where you want to pull the local retracements, right? Maybe on a little bit of a lower high. You didn't reject the full fib, but you did reject the local fib pulled from the lower high. Lower high, lower low. But what was really indicating this, right? Because at the end of the day, you did bounce off the 786, right? People was being, oh my God, low, high, higher, low, higher, high, right? Well, not all Fibonacci retracements are created equal. When you have a Fibonacci retracement like this, and money flow is crossing out on the higher time frames, not just the weekly, but the 5-day, the 3-day, the 4-day, the 6-day, this is indicating that the overall trend will continue down. So you can look for the bounce, very similar to what we're seeing on Bitcoin right now, getting the bounce off the 786. But in order to look for all-time highs, you need a red money flow wave crossing into the green. Or I guess technically a complete and total money flow fake out. But, and again, you can see here, money flow did fake out back into the green, but it didn't really mean much, right? Like, look at this big wave. Look at this big green wave. Probably time to spend some time in the red, right? And then you think about the timing of the cycles, etc. But what happens? You get the retracement, right? Whoops. You get the retracement. You're looking for lower highs and lower lows. Where are the two big areas to look for the lower highs and lower lows, or big areas to look for the lower highs? Full golden pocket retracement, not promised. So you always want to keep an eye on the local ones as well. And what happens? You push into the golden pocket. You're looking at this saying, hey, if this money flow is indeed going to be correct, this is the first area to look for that lower high. So what are those levels currently on the chart? Well, I would say the full Fibonacci retracement sits up at about $4,070. So it is possible that even if you get a big retracement in here, you could turn around and roll back to the downside if that money flow stays in the red. 6-day money flow just crossed over. Weekly money flow is heading out, just starting to cross over. Maybe the green dot gives you the retracement. But again, not to say that all-time highs aren't possible. Just not my base case right now. I'd have to come up here and reanalyze the charts with new information. So where would the next fib be? Well, let's pull it to the lower high. Sitting between 36.60 and 39.34, right? So those would be like the two major levels, right? Let me pull my anchored VWAP from the top. Bada boom. Yeah, so your anchored VWAP from the top is coming in here too. And then if we pull up our ranges, we could try to see, look at that, right? Value area low, POC, 786 is confluent with that value area high. So you could pretty much just watch this volume profile. Next major target, just different perspective than we looked at before, but this is very simple. POC sits at 33.48. Get above that, you can look to come into that major zone of resistance. So this would be huge important resistance. You have the anchored VWAP, the value area high, and one of your very significant Fibonacci retracements. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then once we break out of here, we can look to play around with this local range and then potentially maybe talk about seeing an all-time high come in, right? But no point in talking about that until we get up there and the charts start looking for it. All right, let's see. Let's go a little lower time frame on Ethereum here. Yeah, same thing as Bitcoin, right? 4-hour money flow starting to come down. You got the 4-hour bearish divergences. Technically, if you're able to hold inside of this volume profile, the doorway to the POC does remain open. But that 4-hour money flow is coming out with the bear divs confirmed, right? 8-hour bear divs also looking to print. Higher highs, lower highs. Money flow is coming up, though, right? So that could be good for a little pullback. Higher low, and then you can continue up through that profile, right? So it's like very hard job here, guys, because it's like, well, isn't that bullish? Yes, right? It's just not necessarily bullish for guaranteed all-time highs, right? This could still be a big retracement. This anchored VWAP would be really big to flip as well, right? Because if you reject this, continuation of the downtrend. If you flip it, maybe you could start a little bit more of an uptrend, right? And then we could start talking about that at the time. Just impossible for me to know what's going on up there. Yeah, 12-hour money flow trying to work up as well. So there we go. All right, let's see. Shout out to Jesse, said I would add that word to the block list to come through. Shout out to Jesse. Oh, God. Who's saying bad words? Who's saying bad words? Shout out to Panda Profit. Said the golden arch pattern indicates You should update your resume. Shout out to Panda Profit. There is actually a McDonald's indicator here, guys. Where is it? There it is. There it is. Bullish McDonald's pattern. We got the burger signal at the bottom as well. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Even on the weekly, there's the McDonald's. You got the fries at the top. You got the burgers at the bottom. You guys didn't think that was going to be real, did you? Actually, there is a McDonald's indicator. I have no idea how to trade it. I have no idea what it means. It's just funny because it creates a McDonald's logo. Actually, I think we were talking to Sean from Lux Algo, and he said, like, some people actually make money trading with this indicator, which is wild. Just goes to show, right? It does not matter what strategy you use. It's all about risk management. Can we take a look at Crow? Yeah, we can take a quick look at Crow. Let's see. All right, so you can get rid of this. This is old. Haven't taken a look at Crow in quite some time. All right, so I'll give you the key levels. You're just within your bear market range, essentially. Right? Am I tripping on that? No. Just pull this back here real quick. So I'm going to adjust this, actually. Now I'll keep it here. So came into the weekly MPOC. This was tapped on the big liquidation wick. And it is funny, guys, right? Like, look at this liquidation wick. Gives you a push almost directly into the POC. Trump tweet did that. Was it? I mean, I'm not saying it didn't do anything, but it's like you would already be looking that if you lose this level, the next likely place for price to go is the POC, right? You get the big wick, you get back above, but then eventually you break down, can't get out of the range. Next stop is the POC. So right now, this is your macro range. Value area high sits at 14 cents. POC sits at 9 cents. Value area low sits at 7 cents. So you're at support, right? I mean, I wouldn't be like shorting directly into the POC. But at the end of the day, this is your key level. You lose 9 cents, you come back down, you get accepted under this point of control. Very high probability you're going to get a push down to that value area low at 7 cents. 2-day red dot, potentially looking to print here soon. Money flow, of course, crosses over into the red. And just back to the money flow crossovers, there's your 2-day money flow crossover right here. Green dot, that's bullish, right? Well, short term it could be, right? But the money flow is going to indicate the overall trend. Money flow comes out, you can look for lackluster bounces, lower highs, and lower lows. And not only do you have the money flow there, but you're also looking at it through the context of your volume profile. You know that POC is going to be a magnet as long as you live underneath that value area high. Lose the high, POC is next. Doesn't mean you're not going to have bounces in between. So there you go. So key level of support, 9 cents. Lose that, I'm looking down to 7 cents. Key level of resistance, I could try to see if we have any confluence here. This anchored VWAP's probably not going to be down. Nope. So I have to pull some local levels there. Let's pull it from no confluence. Got to pull some real local fibs there. Let's pull from the current lower high. It's obviously not support anymore. It's going to be resistance. Bada boom, bada bing. There you go. 786 golden pocket. So even if you're not looking at the 786 golden pocket, right, that value area high is going to be key. You get the bounce back up. If you cannot break out and get accepted back in, it's back down to the POC. Lose the POC, it's back down to 7 cents, right? If you can break above that 786, well, it's just a local 786, right? So you can look for a continuation up, but this would not be the line in the sand for cracking this high. So at the end of the day, right, it's like you're in your lower profile. If you want higher prices, you got to get out of here and then hopefully work your way all the way back up here, flip that to support, and then you can look for the bigger move up. But of course, it's massively far away. It's 200% away. So I would just be looking at these local levels for now. 2-day money flow in the red, 3-day money flow in the red, 4-day money flow just crossed over, 5-day money flow trying to come into the green. That's kind of like a totally mixed signal. 6-day, back in the red, weekly, bing-bonging around here. No real confident money flow call there. You are looking to print a green dot here, though, so hopefully you can get a little bit of relief. And, of course, if you're looking for new all-time highs, it's like it's the same thing as we've been saying for months, right? Like, it's just kind of got to happen, right? Like, all those indicators got to flip massively green, and we just got to see it happen. But these are the local levels I'd be looking at, right? Well, plenty of time to talk about those upper levels if they come in. But right now, I would say about 14 cents is the biggest level of resistance. All right, let's see. If you cannot get out, you get accepted back in. Frankie Candles. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Solana, yeah, let's take a quick look at Solana. Bada boom. So, yeah, Solana, again, not really a huge update here. Holding on top of your value area low. We obviously came into this POC yesterday, and what were we looking at on the live stream, guys? We were talking about be careful, right? Resistance, not only resistance, but you got the bearish divergences. Higher highs, lower highs. Simple discrepancy between your momentum and your price action. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to zero, but it is a good indication that you could get a pullback. Basically the same thing that we looked at on Bitcoin within that local range. You come up to the local range, local value area high, bearish divergences, cool off. Pretty much the same thing on Solana, except you were pushing into the POC. Bearish divergences on the 1 hour, 45 minute, right? Higher highs, lower highs, 4 hour bearish divergence. Whoops. Higher highs, lower highs, correction, right? So, biggest level of support right now for Solana is obviously going to be the value area low. As long as you can remain above this value area low, I'll actually highlight this with a blue box. I can get rid of the daily and the daily MPOC, right? But this value area low is going to be absolutely key support. If you lose this value area low, right, the goal here is to remain within your profile, right? You want to remain within this volume profile. So you get knocked down from the POC. If you can put in higher lows, flip that POC. I will still be looking up here towards 152.66 to 161.04. Local resistance, right? Like, it's just very hard for me to say, with all this money flow coming out, there's your 6-day money flow crossover. It's very hard for me to say there's a super high probability of just coming up and filling the range in full. Is it possible? Yes. But you have the money flow coming out, indicating lower highs and lower lows, and you also have a bunch of major resistance levels on the way to that final target of the value area high. So again, we'll take it step by step. So local resistance, obviously still rejecting from what we were looking at yesterday on the POC at 145.70. Above that, you have 152.48 to 161 bucks. Anchored VWAP, golden pocket, 786 retracement. If you lose this value area low, not looking good, bruv. We have some extra support levels down here, but again, we'll cross that bridge if and when we have to deal with it. Some local support levels on Solana. Pull the golden pocket. I could even pull this as a little local volume profile potentially. Yeah, you got a little bit of golden pocket confluence there on the value area low. So, not saying that you have to... all right. This is kind of similar to the local range on Bitcoin, right? Bearish divergences into the high. You're losing the POC. Hopefully you can get above that POC, right? If you cannot break back out of this range, probably going to be a bigger drop down to that value area low golden pocket. And then you have the 786 below you. This sits between about 132.27 and 127.83. So there you go. We'll keep this on the chart. Probably look at these as two separate levels, right? And I'll look at that 786 on that value area. I'll just leave it like this. So we'll see. Golden pocket value area low, and then that 786 is backing you up. Once you lose that 786, right, probably a high probability that you're going to lose that profile. So here's your local profile. Profileception, guys. Profile inside a profile. Boom, boom, boom. Make sense? Inverted head and shoulders. Boom. I'm just kidding. I don't really pay attention to patterns, guys. Mrs. Candles is mocking me. Don't whistle mock me, Mrs. Candles. Get in here, Mrs. Candles. Come on in. Come on in. I think Mrs. Candles is she used to be come on in, Mrs. Candles. She hadn't shown hand here in a while. Whoa, reverse head and shoulders. Okay. All right. What do you think, Mrs. Candles? What do you think about this volume profile? You think we're going down to the value area low, or you think we're going to break out?
No, we're going up. Didn't I say that last time?
Oh, yeah. You did say we were going to go up last time.
And did it happen?
We just kind of went sideways. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we went up.
All right, let me sniff the hand. Come on. All right. Quick sniff. Quick sniff. I know my hands are really hot. Not as hot as your hands, Mrs. Candles. Sorry, guys, I got excited. I'm sorry. But there you go, guys. That's what I'll be looking at on Solana. Can't get back above the value area low or the POC. This is the next key level of support to look at. Mrs. Candles just throwing my money here. Better than her taking it. She usually takes a bunch of it. Anyway, let's continue on. Let's see. Vegas Call said, geez, relax now. Behave. Behave, Candles. Behave. Sorry, guys. I smell that hand, and I just, I get excited. I can't control it. All right, there. Drop those Mrs. Candles hands in the chat. If you got a membership, y'all have access to that Mrs. Candles hand, guys. Yeah, we tried to have her sniff that hand, or we tried to sniff that hand for a pump. Just went sideways, though. Maybe that hand sniff from yesterday is still in play. Maybe it's still in play here. Yo, shout out to DMB Smurf. I could just tell from your profile picture, bro. Your name is still, I don't know. Broken YouTube still, I don't know what's up with the usernames. I think you have to go into chat and change them. You're a vampire. I got the canines, baby. I got the vampire teeth. Anyway, indicator name, Frankie Sniff by Luxalco. We do have the Frankie Candles Essentials indicator by Luxalco. You guys can check it out for free on TradingView. No email, no phone number, no nothing. Just come on into TradingView, search my name, and get it on your dang chart. What's happening here? What happened? What? It's not. What's going on? What? There we go. I was gonna say, but yeah. Let's see. Mrs. Candle's still just whistling. My girlfriend literally just yelled, "Creep, creep." I'm just out there sniffing people's hands. I don't know. If it pumps the market, guys, we got to do it. Anyway, let's continue on. So we took a look at Ethereum. We took a look at Solana. What did we look at? Looked at Cardano yesterday with the 4-hour bullish divergence into our POC, tapping into the anchored VWAP. Let's see here, 5-hour money flow crossover into the green. Yeah, I mean, listen, guys. Again, it's like, long term, right? Like I like to separate the long term and the short term analysis. Long term here, money flow. So here's an example, right, where we have a daily bullish divergence with a big money flow wave in the red. If we start to see that curve up, right, it could indicate that that is a significant bottom. Doesn't mean all-time highs, right? But it could indicate that you could get over that anchored VWAP, start a bigger trend to the upside, and the biggest level of resistance I think you'll probably slam into is going to be the value area high at 54 cents. Remember, this was the key level we did not want to lose. Same thing as what we looked at on, I think, Crow. This value area high, there's the liquidation wick. But regardless of this liquidation wick, what were we looking at, right? We said if we lose this range, this value area high is key. If we lose this value area high, very high probability we will go to the POC. If you lose the POC, you're probably going down to the low. And as we can see here, that liquidation wick broke the value area high, went through the POC directly, pinpoint into that value area low. Then we came down to kind of fill the wick there into the point of control. So, until we break out of this range at about 54 cents, that's kind of the most important level to break out of, because at that point, you're not accepted into your profile. As long as we remain inside this profile, the chances are that you could fill it in full. If we break out of it, you're not quite out of the woods, because we do have this macro golden pocket retracement. Sorry, I wanted to drag that back to the low here. Once you get out of here, right, like what's the thought process there? It's like, all right, well, we're breaking out of this range. What do we have to do to call for higher prices? Well, we can't just call from it from there. We have to look for a flip of support on that value area low. And when you have the confluence here on a golden pocket, 786 Fibonacci retracement, it is local, right? So it's not the final level, but it would be confluent with that value area low. And if we have the higher time frame money flow, 5-day money flow in the red, 6-day money flow in the red, weekly money flow in the red. If the downtrend is going to continue, this would be the first big level to look at, would be the value area high at 54 cents. And then I really do like this golden pocket confluence on the value area low a little bit better. Definitely an opportunity to put in a lower high before seeing the lower low. It wouldn't be until we broke back into this profile where we could look for a move up to 72 cents, flip the POC, and potentially look up towards $1. So, again, no reason to be looking up here when you're still inside your lower profile, right? We could even, take this profile off the chart, right? Because it's just not relevant as of right now. All right, right now, you got to work with what the chart is giving you. What happened last time? Deviation above the high, back in, back to the POC, lose the POC, back to the low. You bounce off the low, get above the POC, Lambo candle. So we can't get out of here. And even here, right, you bounced a little bit, couldn't get out of the high. You just look for that continuation down. So there you go. That's what I'll be looking at. Hopefully we don't have to see it full and full. You do have the weekly green dot looking to print. You have the daily bull div with money flow attempting to come up. Could give you a retracement. Biggest levels, 54 cents, and then back up here into this confluence between 59 and 65 cents. Shout out to Al Jr. said, don't let this distract you from the fact that Hector is going to be running 3 Honda Civics with spoon engines. And he just went into Harry's and bought 3 T66 turbos. T66 turbos with NOS and a Motec system exhaust. Shout out to the Fast and Furious fans. Link, yeah, we can take a look at Link. That sausage candle. It's a fat sausage candle if you ask me. Good Lord. Let's look at that monthly candle. Whew! Man, somebody blur that out. Good Lord. All right, let's take a look at Link real quick. We'll check it on Zcash as well. All right. So Chainlink, we talked about this the other day. We were looking at the POC. Sitting here at about 1437. Alert went off. We tapped it. This is going to be resistance until proven otherwise. Next key level of resistance, guys, if you can get above this point of control, the next zone to look at for me is going to be the daily MPOC, golden pocket, anchored VWAP confluence, sitting between 1566 and 1648. And of course, right, you take all the local levels off the chart. You just look at it from a volume profile perspective, just like a nice simple view. I know all those local levels kind of get confusing, but we front ran this value area low as we've been talking about. Sometimes you can get the drop, you get the bounce above the POC, and you do end up getting the lower low eventually to fill the profile in full. We got the acceptance into the range. At this point, you're looking for lower highs and lower lows into your POC. You get it. You lose the point of control. Barely front ran that value area low. So I am still, as I was yesterday, a little suspicious of that value area low getting hit. It's not that it's guaranteed or you have to come hit it necessarily, but more often than not, I would say, right, like even here, bounce back above the POC, but eventually, like you're just still suspicious of that value area low. These magnetic levels of the volume profile are insane. But at the end of the day, if you could flip the point of control, you know, that does technically open the door to come up to your value area high. Obviously, a very lofty goal at this point to just start looking at that alone. You have a lot of local resistance in between. But just to give you like the overall macro range, value area low sits at 11.12, POC sits at about 14.29, value area high sits at $20.15. And then you bring up those local levels again. Of course, like there's just a lot of resistance leading up to there. So I just don't know if you're going to be lucky enough to get up there, right? And again, high time frame money flow, weekly money flow crossover. 6-day money flow crossover into the red. You got the green dot, but of course that money flow is going to indicate the overall trend. So definitely a possibility of lower highs and lower lows. But again, if you get above the 786, maybe you can work your way up to the value area high, but I'm going to take it step by step. Weekly money flow also headed out. Weekly green dot looking to print. Again, that is a shorter term ebb or flow signal. If that money flow crosses red, you're going to be looking for the lower highs and lower lows. Let's take a look at Zcash real quick. Where's our Zcash chart? I keep forgetting what actual chart we were looking at. There it is. Got the Aztecian Cactus Gorgie water, whatever the heck this stuff is. Mrs. Candle's making me drink this because it's healthier than Red Bull. Lame. Anyway. All right, we're holding this anchored VWAP. Let's pull up a lower time frame here. There's our golden pocket retracement. So, yeah, similar situation to yesterday, right? We're just clinging on top of this 786. Got to get above this golden pocket. Overall, guys, looking at the daily, we saw this money flow coming out yesterday. There's your daily green dot. I mean, this is still indicative. This thing's absolutely been ripping to the upside, but look at your money flow. What does that indicate, right? I hate to be like super repetitive with this stuff, but the money flow is obviously going to indicate that, you know, what am I looking for here? Lackluster bounces, lower highs and lower lows. Where's your next key level of support? It's going to be this value area high at 237.77. Break down into this range. Very high probability. Very high probability target of the POC. Maybe you get some turbulence. Once you lose the POC, you can look to go fill down to the low. That daily money flow crossover could be calling for that. At least a move down to the value area high. Of course, you can get the retracement up. Let me get rid of these Fibonacci extensions real quick. All right, so we'll have a nice clean view here. Let's pull the anchored VWAP from the top. Where is it? There we go. Pull the fib. It's technically the high right there. Not going to be confluent. Let's pull this local range, come down to a lower time frame. All right, so let me hide the anchored VWAP for now. Let me mark off this volume profile. Value area low, POC, value area high. So you got confluence here on your 786 value area high. These are just key levels to the upside. Could look at this as a bigger zone, right? Value area high, golden pocket. This is going to be a zone. And then, of course, right, if you could hold this anchored VWAP, big, big, big. Actually, pull up the VPVR real quick. Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat low volume here. Fast move down could be a fast move up. Let's pull a local fib here. There it is. So I'll leave this off the chart just to make things nice and clean. These are the levels I would look at. Golden pocket value area low. POC 786. These would be the next key levels, right? If you are able to make it up to this value area low, golden pocket confluence, got to be careful of the lower high. If you can flip the value area low, as always, POC would be the next stop. It is also confluent with the 786, so another opportunity to get the lower high, right? If you hold the value area low of the range, maybe you can continue up. But with that daily money flow, right? The reason I would be interested in looking for lower highs would just simply be because of this money flow, right? Might even come in sooner, right? It might reject like a hyper local level here. But again, biggest key level of support to the downside, 239.34. So if you do put in a lower high, whether it comes in here, or maybe even up higher, next major target, key support is that value area high. You don't want to once you lose that, you're going to be looking down towards the POC at 144.61. Let's see. Gold and silver as well, long-term winners. Yeah, shout out to Jar Sager. Still don't know how to say your name, brother, but yes, obviously. I mean, you take a look at the silver chart or even the gold chart. I mean, total insanity. Total insanity. Should have been buying metals this whole time. But yeah, it'd be nice. I mean, you need this stuff to cool off in a big way. Just tired of sideways trash. So much red, so little green. It's an absolute joke now. Yeah, shout out to DK Insight. I agree with you, brother. It's like Tony D said, I love gold. Shout out to Tony D. Yeah, I mean, it's it's just, you can feel it too, right? It's like sentiment is just, ugh. Sentiment's terrible right now. It's just dealing with complete trash. But yeah. Shout out to Mike. Says, I have an announcement. All of my crypto. All of it. Shout out to Mike. What did you do? You just what with all your crypto? You just all your crypto? I assume he said sold. Doge, yeah, we could take a quick look at Dogecoin. All right. Dogecoin. Yeah, like another thing I would be careful of, right? Like, try to compare this to like previous cycles, right? Here's your 2021 top. Just like pull this little wonked out range after the top came in. Not that it has to play out like this, right? I don't pull these fractals expecting this to play out exactly the same. But just to like kind of get an idea, right? Because like we are in a similar spot in the cycle, right? I mean, it has been crazy, guys. Like a lot of altcoins didn't make new all-time highs, and I know how painful and crazy that feels. And hopefully it's not the case. Maybe we look back and we say, there's the alt season, right? And of course, I can't really point to too much on the chart that is saying that's going to happen. But, maybe we look back and it's like, I knew that the altcoins are going to make all-time highs. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's no real guarantee. But if we just look at this, right, like the top comes in, you bounce around, you get these wonked out ranges. You don't even fill this profile back to the high. Right, you get back into the range, rejected, back to the low, you bounce off the low, didn't make it to the high, didn't make it to the high. Eventually, you get the bigger breakdown. This was obviously all on the higher time frame indications of the money flow coming out on the higher time frames, such as the 4-day. When we look for these ranges to break down, this money flow will oftentimes lead you to understand whether this is going to be a massive rip up, right? If I were going to be looking for all-time highs from here, I would have to see the opposite of what was happening here. I would have to see a massive red wave crossing into the green. We did not have that, so you look for the eventual breakdown. What do we have here? There's the current top bouncing around, couldn't get to the high, and we are starting to wiggle out here. Let's take a look at some of our higher time frame money flow. Ooh. Not a huge red wave, right? Or, not a huge red wave. You can see the massive, massive red wave that we had down here before event. Yeah, it's just been kind of choppy. But yeah, kind of like nothing really to call for here. You're in the green, in the red, in the green, in the red, in the green. Total chop fest. 5-day in the red. 6-day in the red. Weekly just starting to cross over into the red. So there's your big money flow wave. The pop to the upside. You know, if I'm looking for this range to get a massive bounce up, really what I would want Market Cipher B to look like is like this, with a massive red wave crossing into the green. We don't have that, right? Doesn't mean you can't pump. It just, there's nothing for me to say it's a high probability. Doesn't mean you can't come up locally, right? But if I were to be calling for all time, like this is just indicating to me that, be cautious. Whoops. Be cautious of lower highs and lower lows, even if you get the bigger retracements, right? And right now we're outside of our volume profile of 16 cents, right? Like the hope would have been to stay inside this profile to keep the doorway open into the POC, flip the POC, go up to the high. Once you lose that range, back down to support, right? This is a tapped MPOC. I'll leave this up here just because it was tapped with the wick here. It might still be relevant. Typically, when these are tapped, I take them off the chart, but I will just leave it. We also have our 786 Fibonacci retracement. Green dot looking to print here on the weekly. So if we do get a retracement, I would say the biggest level to get above is obviously the value area low. Still going to have that POC resistance, though. So if we get a pop up, key level to flip is obviously going to be about 16 to 17 cents. Get inside that volume profile. If we can get that to happen, right, and money flow comes up, not necessarily on the weekly, but like if we can get something like, maybe the 6-hour money flow, very choppy here. 8-hour money flow, not looking super, super bullish. 12-hour money flow trying to come up. 16-hour trying to come up. Daily super deep in the red. You have the bull divs. It's just very hard to make these calls. Like the money flow is just super chopped. But if we can get the push, look for that value area low at about 16 to 17 cents. Flip that to support. If we can get some of this money flow to start cooking back into the green, maybe we can get the bigger retracement into the golden pocket at 23 cents. But, the value area low is also going to be resistance until proven otherwise. Right? If you can't get, at the end of the day, if you can't get back into this range, next key level is going to be the 786 down here. Lose that 786, unfortunately, we're going to have to start looking much lower to the value area high at 9 cents. Right? Break down into the range. We're at risk of coming through the rest of that profile. So that's what I'd be looking at on Dogecoin. Yeah, like even the low, like 3-hour money flow is just super chopped. 2-hour money flow, super chopped. You're in the red, you're in the green. You're in the red, you're in the green. Coming back out, green dot printing. Yeah, we'll see. Biggest level right now, 16. Technically, 0.16703. Got to get above that. Yo, shout out to Crypto Cowpoke. Said I have an announcement. I just bought all of Mike's crypto. Guys just doing like over-the-counter deals. I like it. Shout out to Todd. Said I grabbed limit orders on ETH at 0.01. Shout out to Todd. Where did it go down to 0.01? Where did that happen? Is that true? Shout out to you, bro. You probably made $1 bajillion. Right back up. Sandberger said Chatter's selling everything now might be the bottom signal. It's not something I really base my decisions off of, right? Again, if you're ever wondering, right, like, if you're ever wondering what I'm looking for, it's always going to be on the chart, right? Oftentimes, if I'm looking to buy a dip, a lot of people are not looking to buy that dip. I'm just naturally wind up being a contrarian, right? Because when it comes to the charts, right, you're hitting, it's like same thing here on Ethereum, right? We dumped down to $1,400. It's like everybody and their grandmother was like, ha ha. Not that I'm a big ETH guy. I mean, I do hold a lot of ETH, right? I don't take any kind of emotional, like team-based, like stance on anything I hold, right? Like there's no emotion. This is where people get it twisted, right? Like some people will just be like so community driven on their coin that they just kind of get blinded and hold their bags to zero, right? Like that's never what I do. But you know, everyone's like, I told you Ethereum was going to zero. And I'm just, all I can see here, guys, all I could see here was the fact that we were coming up to the biggest level on the chart. Macro 786 Fibonacci retracement, second largest coin by market cap. If you were going to lose this, you are expecting Ethereum to go to zero. That was never my intention or my thought. I don't know how much lower people wanted this to go. Everyone gets super bearish. Bounce, right? So typically when I'm like, that's support, guys, this looks actually pretty good. Money flow is coming back up on the daily. This looks nice. Whatever. Bullish type, whatever it is, right? Typically, people are just selling because they're scared. They don't know what they're looking at, right? They're just like, oh, my God, red candles. This is going down forever. I'm out. And then it winds up reversing and absolutely pissing everybody off that sold at the bottom. But that does not mean, right, if this was coming down and the charts were not calling for this to go back up, I would not just be like, oh, people are selling the bottom, I'm going to buy, right? I would just still listen to the charts. If the charts are agreeing with the crowd, I go with the charts. If the charts are disagreeing with the crowd, I still just go with the charts. When I go with the charts and it's against the crowd, it makes me feel a little bit more confident, but I'm still, it's binary. I listen to the charts every single time. Let's see. Al Jr. said Marty McFly has joined the chat. Let's go. Too many big players in ETH for it to go down? Maybe. Bought that 85K dip. Let's go. Shout out the Jets. All right. So there we go. We took a look at Zcash. We took a look at Solana. We took a look at Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum, Cardano. I think we took a look at everything here, guys. And we are, oh, look at that, 7:32. Wow. It's kind of wild, guys. I just have like an internal clock for 2 hours. I've been doing this every day for dang near 4 years that my brain, I don't even look at the clock. And as soon as I look at the clock for the first time, it's just 2 hours. That's why it's so hard for me to do short streams. But there you go, guys. That's what we're looking at. Great ETH summary. Shout out to Jar Sager. Yar Sager. I don't know how to say your name, brother. I apologize. But that's what we're looking at here on the charts, guys. We'll do one last little quick check-in on good old Diddy here. Trying to push up, right? Pull up those local. Let's get rid of the golden pocket. Come on over to our actual chart here. So, yeah. Range I'm looking at on Bitcoin. Value area high, 93,665. POC sitting at 91.3. Biggest key level of support on the chart here, guys. We do not want to break into the low volume gap. Could be a teleportation to the downside. Do not want to lose this. 90,500. Anchored VWAP from the low. We end up losing this, right? There is a possibility that maybe you hold it, right? But if you lose this, you're below the POC, enter the low volume gap, very high probability we start heading down towards the lows. The invalidate, and again, right, look at your money flow on the medium time frames, right? Just like we look at like the weekly for bear markets to come in, Maybe the weekly money flow typically indicates that, right? But we're here on the 1 hour. Bearish divergences, 1 hour money flow is coming out. That indicates high probability of lower highs and lower lows, right? So I am being cautious here. I am building shorts. And again, if they do wind up coming up and getting stopped out, we still got the long position cooking here. And I'm going to lock in some more profits on this once I hop off the stream. So, guys, with all that being said, I think that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. Don't forget, we got the Cyber Week sale here on FrankieCandlesTrading.com. Come check it out if you want to get into the Discord at a discounted price. If you want to learn how to make money trading Bitcoin, whether the price goes up or down, come join us in the kitchen. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And also, don't forget Warbucks, guys. Go check that out. Link still pinned at the top of the chat if you're interested in a crypto prop firm. I am absolutely having a blast with it so far. So check that out if you're looking for instant funded accounts. No challenge. If you don't want to do the challenge, if you want to pay a little extra for the instant funded accounts, you can check that out. Link at the top of the chat. And with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for today's live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. I know price isn't going up, guys, but go ahead and smash that like button on the way back up. Maybe it'll help price pump. Shout out to DK Insight. Shout out to Loyal Retriever. Shout out to Jets. Shout out to JJMG Rockstar Cola. Shout out to the mods. I appreciate everything the mods do here. Thank you guys for all of your help. And last but not least, shout out to Lucia. That's all I got. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time. Right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Coach, what's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, though they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Forgot who said it, but somebody asked about the DBSI on Market Cypher. Usually when I'm using the DBSI, just give you a little sauce here, I am using it on the higher time frames. So how this works, real quick, I'll give you guys a 15-second tutorial. Positive numbers are the strong numbers. Negative numbers are the weak numbers, right? So right here you have an 8 versus a 0, showing that there is more pressure on the pushing down, right? Not something I use very often. I will use it on the higher time frame sometimes, but it's just showing you kind of like where the momentum is, right? Like if you have an 8 versus a 0, that 8 is going to push you down. If you had like a 12 versus a 1, right, that is going to give you more pressure to the upside, so on and so forth, right? So that's just like a simple kind of way to use markets, or that's simply how you use the DBSI, or how I personally use it. I used to use it a lot more, but at the end of the day, guys, it's like, once you start using too many things, too much information, sometimes bad information. So I just like to keep the chart nice and clean. I always have it up here. I turn it on and off if I'm looking for a, like at a higher time frame, I'll pop it up, right? Like, look at that. More pressure on the upside, pushing down. You got a 19 versus a -5, right? 19 is much stronger than a -5. It's not even like a 19 versus a 5. It's a -5. Strong pressure there on the upside, meaning pushing down. So there you go. Quick little 15-second tutorial. That's all the time I got for today's live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time. Have a good day. Try to hang in there, Mafia. I know this is not fun time in the market. So hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ay, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ay, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll.